I didn't even realize how certain things had affected me. None of us were really ready for anything serious. The men would literally write on their profiles, "I do not date Black women. Please do not contact me." I was running around town, definitely several situationships. Hello, beloved. How are you today? Today, we're going to be talking about dating as a resident physician. Actually, I'm going to take you through the progression of my dating life as I've been pursuing this career path. And we're going to do this while I'm doing my makeup because I have places to go and I'm calling myself putting in effort. This very much will be a rambling video because, look, I've been trying to, I really wanted to make this channel like really great and do all this research and make sure that I was looking at everything from a global lens and offering different perspectives and blah blah blah. But child, let me just be real with you and myself at the same time. If I keep saying that I'm going to be doing all that, I will never post a video because I'm just too busy to do all of that. For the time being, it's going to have to be fluent off the dome with my thoughts, opinions, and all that kind of thing. Cause child, right now we ain't got time. But let's really get into this whole dating business. First things first, I'm a non-traditional resident slash I was a non-traditional medical student. So I didn't go straight through after undergrad. I had a long, long, long journey to medicine. I mentioned that just to give a little bit of context. I've been dating for quite some time. While I was in medical school, I was busy trying to not get kicked out, basically. I did date, but not as much as I was dating before and after medical school. Now, the thing is, for the most part, like when I was in undergrad, for example, I would meet people here and there while I was out and everything was Gucci. Like I was having me a good old time, being young, blah, blah, blah. This was accompanied by a lot of internal baggage that I was dealing with, which I continued to deal with into my 30s because I didn't even realize how certain things had affected me as a young person and how those things were manifesting in my life and in the context of this video in my dating life. Long story short, I would meet people, we would date. None of us were really ready for anything serious. Like I've always wanted to be married. I'll tell you what my timeline was that I created for myself when I was younger. So my timeline was at age 24, I would meet my husband. At age 26, we would marry. Age 28, I would have my first child. Age 30, my second. Age 32, my third. At that time, I wanted about 6 kids, so I wanted to have a child every 2 years. And yeah, raise those children, pay for them to get through college, all that stuff, and then be empty nesters, travel the world, blah, blah, blah. So that was the time. And of course, the Lord laughed right in my face. As time went on, I started like moving around a little bit. I went away for graduate school. I'm from DC, by the way, in case you don't know. I was really in the books then because at that time, there was just no way I was going to be getting into medical school with my grades and my, everything, my record the way it was. So I was really trying to focus. After graduate school, I did not get into medical school immediately. I came back home to DC, did some research, and, was slowly starting to get my feet back wet in the dating pool, whatever have you. Dating around, etc., etc. And eventually, I decided to go ahead and try the apps, child. And some of y'all already know. Because some of y'all already been on these apps, you know, it can be hit or miss. But nonetheless, like I met a lot of people, good people. You know, it just wasn't fruitful in the way that I wanted it to be. And again, like a lot of like I definitively was not. I can admit this now. I was not ready to be in no relationship. And for a while, like I wasn't even trying to. I just wanted to be out and about. I wanted to meet people, you know, beat my feet around the city, whatever have you. And that's what I did for a really long time. But after a while, I started feeling like, if I'm gonna make this timeline and not be, I remember myself saying, I mean, I don't want to be 30 just getting married. I eventually was like, okay, like let me go ahead and start trying to for real meet people, like get on the apps, talk to people I know, see who they know, all that kind of stuff. And for a while, like it was going well. Like I had made some good matches. To understand that I did not grow up with a male figure in my home. That came with a lot in terms of number one, how I viewed myself and my role in the family, responsibilities that I felt like I needed to take on. Like I didn't have a healthy example of what a relationship with a man should have been like. So, and this is not like a unique story. A lot of women, particularly a lot of Black women, go through a similar situation, which is really unfortunate. I do feel like Black women are taken for granted in many different spaces, not just in dating. Like there are a lot of people who criticize us and say they don't want to date Black women because Black women have attitudes, or Black women are too difficult. That's the code word. Black women are too difficult. They got attitudes. Blah blah blah. But like, what does that say about you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even stand up to a Black woman, like that you allege has this attitude. Why would someone that you are coming at with this type of energy give, like, how do you not expect to in some cases receive negative energy back when you're already coming at Black women with that kind of energy? I'll just get back to my own personal experience, like being on the dating apps and all that. Men would literally write on their profiles, like the thing that everyone sees when they first come across your page. They would literally write on there, I do not date Black women. Please do not contact me. And that's the other thing too. Like it wasn't even just like white men or Asian men or whatever other kind of men saying that they didn't want to date Black women. There were even Black men who were putting in their profile, I do not date Black women. Don't get me wrong. We move how we move, right? At the end of the day, if I choose to respond to something in a certain way, then that was my choice. But also understand how these types of things can be internalized. And it would be that way for anyone. It's just that in many cases, other women don't experience these things at the rate that we experience them. When you're talking about women who didn't grow up with a man in the household for whatever reason, but in particular, the ones whose fathers left them, like left their family, didn't look back, didn't give a damn what happened to their kids, the mother of their children, and all of that. How do you expect them to know how to move around men when the primary example of what a man should be like failed them and abandoned them? This comes with a lot of emotional baggage that can follow a woman. I keep looking at myself. I'm supposed to be looking at y'all. Whether it's in a romantic relationship or otherwise. I say all that to say, be patient with women. Really check how you're showing up in your woman's life. Like, are you abandoning her every time she makes a mistake? Every time she quote unquote gives you attitude, did you do something that could have been triggering? Is it worth your while to learn what those triggers are and why she reacted that way? What experiences may have led her to feel like she had to put on that kind of armor in order to protect herself? That kind of thing. Because the reality is, a lot of men shy away from having to deal with women who have undergone that type of trauma, and it is trauma, and you need to understand that. But it's simply perpetuating that cycle. I was running around town. I was not promiscuous, but I met people. I went out. I dated. Definitely several situationships. Y'all know how it is. My schedule as a medical student was very, very daunting. So, yeah, that kind of threw a wrench in some of my dating plans because, like I said, I was on the brink of getting tossed out of school twice. So, I really didn't have the luxury of going out and, like, you know, dating and meeting as many people as I would have liked to have at an amount that would have allowed me to maximize the possibilities of meeting my match. But that's cool. Like, that just wasn't the season. But nonetheless, like, I found a way in there. Don't get me wrong. Something is itching me. Dang, it's so much makeup. This hair is like plastered into my skin. Okay, there we go. Yeah, did my best. Did what I could to get out there and med school, and before that was like very much a situationship period for me. There were many things that I did not understand about myself back then. Even like into residency, like that's the thing. This is a journey. It's never just like, oh, I have a revelation and now I'm just perfectly well and can move about without any issues for the rest of my life. No, that's not what it is. The journey is everlasting. You're constantly learning new things about yourself. You're constantly learning new things about other people. Um, and then you're constantly changing on top of that. So the person that I was when I was in medical school, that's a big old pimple right there, like where you come from. The person that I was when I was dating in medical school, completely different than the person that I am now. That's just the name of the game. When I started residency, I moved to another state. Um, and I decided that, you know, I've learned, I've grown. It's time for me to reap the benefits of this work that I've done on myself, right? Oh, Lord. Let me get up on these apps and see what it do. I'm gonna give the apps another try because they were very fruitful, I'll say. Oh no. Dang, I messed up. They were very fruitful when I was in DC. So I decided that I would give dating apps another try when I came to residency. When I say the pool was dry, the pool was dry. And it wasn't even like dry, dry. It was like water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink because, again, like a lot of people do not date Black women. Not only that, but, I am a woman who has achieved a lot in her lifetime and I'm still going. And for my sake and for the sake of the individual that I choose to build a relationship with, I need that to not be a point of contention. I need you to understand that all of this, like, there are a lot of things that come with that territory. Did I mess this up? It's going to have to do. It's going to have to do because mama got places to go. When it's time for me to work, it's time for me to work. Um, that's just the reality. It does not mean that I'm going to be working all the time, but what it does mean is if I have an exam coming up, that's my priority at that point in time. You really do have to understand that. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Some people don't understand that. I think like a lot of people, you really just don't understand what it takes to become a physician, especially in the United States of America. You literally dedicate your entire life almost to medical school, residency. Like there really is not a lot of time to do much of anything else. People assume that because I'm a pathology resident that I have all this free time in the world, and relatively speaking, I do have time. I'm not even going to lie about that. Like I do not work weekends frequently. When second year was tougher because we took a lot of call during second year, but for the most part, weekends be free. Um, but that being said, there is a caveat. We do have to learn a lot of information. And so, even though I'm not always working on the weekends, I am working on the weekends. Like I'm going into work to catch up on stuff or get ahead of certain things. I am studying like nonstop. The amount of information that you have to know as a pathologist is insane. It is insane. Yeah, that being said, like there really isn't always time to go out and like meet people and all that. And I know that a lot of residents, regardless of their specialty, have a similar experience or viewpoint. So that being said, like dating in residency has been tough. It's pretty much been non-existent. Let's just put it that way. I'm just as single now as I was when I first came here. And I do believe that, God has his plan and all that kind of thing. Like if it were meant to have happened, it would have. So I'm not stressing about it or nothing, but it's like, dang, like, can a girl get a little bit of action? Like, and also, like, that's another thing to consider if you're in residency or gonna go to residency or you're thinking about becoming a physician. Where you are matters. Um, if you're in a stage in your life where you really want to maximize your chances of meeting people out and about, if you're in no man's land, and the thing is, obviously we don't have full control over where we end up for residency because of the whole match process and all that. So wherever you get, that's what you get. When it comes to selecting places to apply to, and things like that, if that's the stage of your life you're in, you may consider including that in your selection process. That does not mean only apply to places where, it's going to be booming with singles and things like that. No, but that just means consider adding certain places so that it'd be easier for you to meet people when you go out. But yeah, that being said, like I got on these little apps, wasn't finding anything. And then the other thing too, that I started hearing on social media that some women were, they would put in, I think I heard this on one specific dating app. I'm not going to name it or whatever, but I saw a video of a girl talking about how she got on that app and she included her race as a Black woman. And she just wasn't really getting a lot of matches. And then all of a sudden, she had heard from someone else on social media that if you change your race to a non-Black woman, that all of a sudden you would get more matches. So she tried it and she says that resulted in her getting a lot more matches. Now, here's the thing. What I do believe is happening is what I said before, how some people don't like Black women, because just the same way you can put your race on your profile, you can either choose to show it on your profile or not. Other people can select the demographic that they're looking for. So I believe that there's a good chance that a lot of individuals are leaving Black women out of what they're looking for purposely. And as such, you are not showing up as a match for them and they are not showing up as a match for you. If you went out of your way to exclude me from your dating pool, I don't want to be in your dating pool. You don't even deserve me. At this point in time, I have no interest in getting on an app again. We'll see what happens in the future. I reserve the right to change my mind about that. But right now, I really don't care for it. And your dating experience is different based on who you are a lot of times. and where you are. That has a lot to do with it as well. Oh, a lip. I'm like, what am I missing? Definitely missing a lip. And I'm a West African woman too. Like that plays into my experience as well. After all these years of telling you to leave men alone, focus on your books, face your books, then when you graduate and you don't have nobody, oh, where's your husband? Where was this energy when I first started school? And they steady trying to hook you up with somebody that you don't like, that you have absolutely no interest in. And I know there are some people out there probably like, well, that's why you single now, because you over there being picky. But listen, after dealing with some of the men that I've had to deal with, I would rather be single than have to settle for someone who doesn't have any integrity, who lies, who does not respect my time, um, who puts me on the back burner, all these kinds of things, which I understand now why God did not allow those situations to flourish, because first of all, they wouldn't have flourished. And I'm not saying that it's all the men's fault. It's not. Like I said, I wasn't ready. I had my issues as well, that I needed to work on, heal from, etc., etc. But at the very least, I am respectful. I am honest. Um, yeah, like I'm thoughtful. You know what I'm saying? So these are some of the basic things that an individual should be afforded in their relationship. And that's just like the basic stuff. I'm also at that point where if you're not adding value to my life, I really don't care to have you around, and I won't have you around. This is in romantic relationships, this is in any platonic relationships, whatever have you. So, with that being said, like, no, I'm not accepting the bare minimum, and I'm not accepting anyone who doesn't add value to my life. So, if that means I'm gonna be single, then damn it, I'm gonna be single. I have no interest in selling myself short anymore. And that's self love right there. Like, I wanted to love myself, and I thought I did when I was younger and dating. But the reality is, like, when I look back on that stuff, especially having the respect that I have for myself now, there's no way that I would ever treat someone that I love like that, like subjecting them to the disrespect and the carelessness, the bare minimum, and all that. If I wouldn't do that to someone else, or if I would not advise anyone else to settle for that, why would I settle for it myself if I truly, truly love myself? And so I've had to sit with that for some time and really reflect on that. That was not love. Allowing people to like take advantage of you or take you for granted is not self love, period. Yeah, I had a lot of lessons to learn. And I have to recognize that some of these failures were in part because I allowed them to continue. And I'm not going to be hard on myself about that. Like, again, like I said, I did not have a healthy example of what a relationship was supposed to look like coming up. So, how can I blame myself for something that I don't know anything about? Like, you know, a lot of women complain about their men all the time. So in my mind, like this must be normal. But it's not normal. Like at the end of the day, there is a decent way to treat human beings and there's a not decent way to treat human beings, especially if you claim that you want to be romantically involved with an individual. Like, no. So long story short, child, I knew I wasn't ready then. And I do recognize that I still have work to do on myself. But obviously, I'm in a much better place now than I was. The problem is, I'm not in a better place physically than I was in terms of where I'm living. It's been slim pickings. And again, like, being in residency is really difficult because you spend so much time at the hospital doing clinical work, studying, trying to catch up, trying to get ahead. There's just so much going on. I didn't even mention this, but I'm simultaneously a full-time PhD student. So the time really and I've been taking coursework for that for the past 2 years. So already the odds were stacked against me. And then you add this advanced degree on top of that. It has been really tough. I'm a homebody in general, but every once in a while I like to get out there. I like to dip my toe in the waters of social life. But when I say that, when people were going out and they would invite me places, and I often do not even have the energy to go because I got assignments due. I remember there was a day I had to give a presentation in class at 8 something in the morning or 9 in the morning, and then I had another presentation to give for my residency program at noon. So it's a lot, and because of that, you have really limited time to get out there and do anything. And on top of that, even if you do have the time, shall you be tired? So it is what it is, but I'm definitely looking forward to what things will look like when I finish residency. I mean, the reality is I'm doing a fellowship, so that's going to be that's going to be hard in and of itself in terms of like maintaining a social calendar. And hopefully when I move away for fellowship, there will be a larger pool from which to select. Y'all put that up there in y'all prayer list. I've done the whole, see who my friends know, who do we know through mutuals? You know what I'm saying? Going out and doing things that I enjoy doing even by myself when I have a little bit of time, so that I can be feeding my own self and finding like-minded individuals who enjoy some of the same things. But sometimes the circumstance just ain't circumstancing. If this is not the timing that the Lord wanted for me, then it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to find that person yet. So I'm very aware of that. I live a very fulfilled, happy life. I have a lot going for me. I have responsibilities, child. You got all the responsibilities. You legit are not going to jeopardize that for an individual who is not worth your time. Let's just put it that way. You can't. Oh my goodness, I forgot that I didn't part this. This is gonna mess up my curls. I can't be walking around with that shoddy part. Keep the hope alive, sis. This is just me rambling. Like I said, there are many things that I want to talk about, even within the topic of dating as a resident or as a medical professional. It's very complicated. I talked a little bit about being a Black woman and trying to date, but the intersectionality of a lot of these things have to be considered. Like being a first generation American, being a first generation physician, being a Black woman, and being underrepresented in medicine, being a resident in general. The intersection of all of these things, and that's just me and my experience. There are other people from other demographics who have their own experiences that may align with mine, but may not. They may have their own set of struggles, challenges, even considering having disabilities, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many things to consider and think about when you are thinking about dating as a resident. I really could do a whole entire series on this. It's loaded. It's loaded. Oh my goodness, look at the time. I really need to get out of this house. I'm sitting over here fluffing up my twist out. You got some nerve. Okay. We'll continue this conversation another day, girl. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the video, share it, whatever have you, and come back for more later. I do intend to post more frequently now that I have completed the coursework for my graduate degree by the grace of God. Stick around, girl. We got lots to talk about. The comment section, let me know what your experiences have been, whether you're a resident or not, whether in med school or any other profession outside of medicine. What are some of the challenges that you have had when it comes to dating? Or even if you haven't had any challenges, like what kinds of things worked for you? I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would love to hear what you have to say and hear what was successful for you. So please share those things in the comment section. All right. So thank you so much once again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be blessed.